It was what I expected, I like it, because it was a second chance, for us guys who performed at the combine, to do a lot better, here at the pro day, a lot more, relaxed and not, as intense as it was, at the combine.
Were you disappointed with what happened at the combine for you?
No, not disappointed. I went in there and I just wanted to play some times out there and, just have a goal set, so I can, reach it and beat it. And I did that, and I think everything worked out well for me.
What are some numbers you could tell us?
The 40, that was the most important. I ran, I think, a 4.7 at the combine, and I just wanted to get that down. So I focused a lot on that. With these 2 weeks I had off, and I performed well and got it down.
To what?
To I believe it was a 4.61. So it's good.
What about the other position drills and those sort of things? How much of that did you do, and how did it go?
The position drills is great. You play football; those aren't hard or as stressful. You're actually excited to get those going. You get a chance to show the coaches and the scouts, really what type of athlete you are. Instead of doing what those guys want you to do as a 40, you're not in a 40 stance, too much in a football game. So the position drills really was, I think, a guy's best shot at showing the scouts and everybody what you can do.
What are these the coaches and personnel guys and scouts been asking you? What do they want to know about you?
They just want to really get to know you. I think it's because they're investing so much in you. They need to know you inside and out, and what type of product they're getting. We all know that I've had my issues here, and I've had some good times here. And they want to know all those things. So I answer to them 100% honest, and hopefully they pick me up.
What do you tell them, Navarro, when they ask you about some of the things that have happened in the past? What do you say?
Just off the field issues. Just going through some things and some hard times at the time. We all as men, have to mature sometime and learn from the mistakes that you make. So
do you assure them that things are different now? And
oh yeah, they're different. You can see they're different. I don't do some of the things that I used to do, or things like that. I work a lot harder and focus a lot more. And I've had a chance to sit down and really put things in perspective.
You never really shied away from talking to the media about that stuff. Was that helpful in the sense that you were able to discuss before you even meet any of these personnel guys?
When it comes to media, you guys just want to just know what happened. So if I did it, I should be able to speak about it. So whatever I'm at, you definitely get a straightforward answer on exactly what happened.
Well, where are you weight-wise compared to where you were at the end of the season?
I've been between 240 and 235. So today I was 237, I believe. So.
But you weren't at that in the Cap One Bowl, right?
No, I was probably 229. Something
like where are you working at?
Down Miami, and it's not actually in Miami. A couple 20 minutes from it, but a great facility with a guy by the name of Pete Armorito, and excuse me. He's a great trainer. I've learned a lot from him. He's basically really helped my body out. When it comes to getting a lot of faster times and being a lot stronger.
You going back down there after today?
Yeah, I'm going back down there soon. I have a couple visits set up, and just get those out the way and get back to training.
How hard's the waiting the next month or so?
Waiting. Well, this is the hard part, the combine, the pro day, getting that over with. Now I can really, relax and just, keep my body right and, be prepared for whatever team calls.
You mentioned visits. Who are you going to see?
I have the Steelers set up and the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm excited about these visits, and whatever they ask me to do, I'm planning on doing.
Why did you pick Rosenhaus as your agent? Just curious.
I trust him. I feel like I'm big on history. He's a guy that has a lot of history. Only thing I hear about Drew, is that he has a lot of clients. I tell him, he hasn't lost any, so that's why I'm with him. So I'm big on the history fact, and I think he does a great job, when it comes to his clients, and he doesn't take a break.
Navarro, a lot of the mock drafts and the projections have you going second round, and I was wondering, do you think the questions about your past are the only things that are keeping you from being considered a first-round pick?
I don't know. I hear great things from coaches and scouts, and I'm not too big on the media or the internet and things like that on what they have to say. Half of the media didn't even play a down of football. So at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is April 22nd, through the 24th.
Rich played a couple downs of football, didn't you?
A few.
So you're one of the few.
How important is it to be a first-round pick, or do you not care about that at all?
I mean, it's important. You know, I don't play this game, you know, for the money or anything like that. So, I mean, first, second, third, fourth, the only difference is the money. You know,
What's it like having to wait now? I know your whole life you've probably, or a good portion of your life, you've been waiting for the NFL draft. What's it like to have to wait that last month or so?
I mean, it's intense. You know, you think about it, but you know, I'm glad that this is over. You know, and I could get a chance to just take a break and really sit down and just be thankful for the opportunity that I have.